from SANEF on this?
Well, certainly not trial by media. I mean, the trial is by a judge in a court, and that's the way it will be conducted. But of course, there will be a lot of hype around the media coverage in view of the fact that it's going to be on television, and I think the radio broadcast will be of all the proceedings, whereas the television will be limited to some of the witnesses. For instance, Pistorius himself, his evidence will not be televised, nor will that of his own witnesses. But I don't see any question of the media, this being a media trial. But the public may, of course, want to escalate it into that direction.
I think some people would argue, and I certainly argue, that I think the trial by the public has sort of happened in the last year on social media and other platforms. But
oh yes, social media. Well, of course, don't forget Pistorius has set up a social media site on Twitter, and so has the family. And they are going to, the way it's been described, they are going to go through incidents in the trial. And that could very well be a trial by Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a new world we live in, I suppose. I wanted to ask you about the impact that this judgment will have on future cases that media houses and the like would like to broadcast live. Do you think we've set a precedent now?
Absolutely. Dario Milo, who appeared for the newspaper houses, said it was a groundbreaking decision, and of course it was. Up to now, what we have had is television cameras in the Constitutional Court recording the discussions of counsel and of the judgments, and in other courts as well, but mainly of the judgment. In fact, the judgment in this particular this application for broadcasting rights was televised. But that's up to now. But from now onwards, the whole process of court trials, when in fact involving high-profile public figures, or where there's an enormous amount of public interest, which there is in this particular case as well, apart from being a public figure, that will of course gain shall we say, acceleration. There will be more and more broadcast requests for entry into the courtroom. And of course, the entry into the courtroom will not be as we are sitting here in the studio with cameras all around us and staff. The ruling is that the cameras will be robotic cameras placed discreetly, and they will not be the overwhelming sort of
the presence that
I've referred to.
I wanted to ask you about the decision itself. You think it's a good decision? Does SANEF think it's a good decision? And what do you think this would mean for collaboration between media houses in the future?
Well, there has to be collaboration here because certain aspects, all the aspects have to be made available to all the press and all the broadcasters who apply for it. So there's collaboration there. But it's really what it amounts to is the fact that the judiciary is caught up with technology. Technology in the form of broadcast and television has been with us for 60, 70 years, but it's always been excluded from the courts. And of course, the courts are a major factor in social life. And so that now they've allowed the cameras in. I can see that happening frequently in the future. But will it have a negative effect on Pistorius's case? Will it in fact prejudice him in his trial? I don't think so. I believe that people are acquainted now with cameras popping up all over the place and with pictures on television.
And it's not like there's a jury that can be influenced.
Well, of course, that's the big difference between us and overseas and Western countries, where there are juries, and juries can be influenced by what is played on television. But I don't see any of that. But there's a major factor in all this, and a major factor of principle. We have a constitution which supports freedom of, upholds freedom of expression and the maximum freedom of expression. We as journalists believe that there should be maximum freedom of expression and also maximum access to information. And here is access to information.
Absolutely.
So it's highly important that those principles are adhered to. And in fact, the judiciary, in a sense, has caught up with them.
Mr. Louw, thank you for joining us this morning. I'm sure that the world will be riveted in front of their screens from Monday morning onwards.
Absolutely.